All right, so I'm going to show you how to create a Nearpod account. So come into Google. We're going to place here, we're going to type in Nearpod and enter. We'll click on the first option here, Nearpod. And you'll notice over here on the right-hand side, there's a blue sign-in button. We're going to click on that one. Okay, and so we have a top part here where we have a teacher login. That's if you've had a Nearpod account before in the past, but we've all now have access through SISD. So we're going to come down here where it says login with Office 365. All right, so when you sign in, you're going to type in your district email. You'll put in your password for your email. Okay, so now that you've signed in, you've created an account, you should see a screen that looks just like this one. You'll notice on the top right-hand side, I can click on the little person. Here's my name, there's my district information. I have several options here. The first of all is my library. My library is where I house all of my saved Nearpods. Explore is where I can actually look into different Nearpods that have been created and posted. Some of them are free, some of them are for an expenditure. And there's also join, where I can actually join any session here. I can punch in the code. I also have create. That's where I'm going to make my own Nearpods. And then I have reports that I can see any responses that have been made to any of my previous Nearpod lessons. And that's how you sign up for your Nearpod account. All right, so now let's take a look at how to create a Nearpod. So some of you have already had some experience with Nearpod, so you can go ahead and skip ahead to the next section. For everyone else, let's start here where create is. So I'm going to click on create. It's going to give us a blank lesson. Okay, so what you can do, the way I explain to people, if you know how to do PowerPoint, then you should be able to do Nearpod. It's a pretty good transition. So what a lot of teachers do is that they develop a PowerPoint lesson, and what they do is they'll save it to their desktop, and they'll just drag and drop it here, or they'll click upload files, and they'll be able to upload them right up into here. All right, so let's start us off. So let's start with an opening slide. And from here, I can choose adding content. And the add content, this is your basic slide. It doesn't give you a lot of options. That's why a lot of teachers like to build their stuff in PowerPoint. The only problem is with the PowerPoint is that once you can't make any animations that go along with it. All right. We have several other options here. The 3D field trips. The 360 field trips. You can put slideshows. You can use sways. We can input videos, audios, PDFs, and even a Twitter stream. All right, so the next part we can add web content. And in the web content, you can just place here a URL address, and it'll give the students an option to go to a website of your choosing. The activity, we can have open-ended questions for students to follow, poll questions, quizzes, draw it, which we're going to really use here today, the collaborate feature, which is a really good feature, but I've noticed in experience sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Fill in the blanks and the memory test. All right, so we're going to build a basic slideshow. So let's go to slide. And from here, you can choose different color backgrounds and styles. This is pretty much the limit to what you have. All right, so I'm just going to pick one. Let's go with, I like the blue, just because I like the texture in the background. All right, so now I can click to add title, and I can do this right here, Nearpod. You can put whatever you want. You can put the date, the topic, whatever. Now, from here, I can click the plus sign. I could add text. Okay. I could add video, images, or a GIF. It's an animated picture. So it's up to you. So if I were to choose the letters, I could choose the size, where it's placed on the sheet, bullets, or numbers, and that's it. So, like I said, it doesn't give us a lot of practice. I mean, a lot of options. What I tend to do with these is I go into an image, or I can go into the GIF. Some people call them GIFs, whatever. Let's go to an image, and let's look up something. Let's look up Nearpod. Also, upload my own. I can choose it from my Google Drive, Dropbox, anything like that. But we're going to look it up on Google. And I can click on the first one. I can scroll through, and sometimes it'll load more, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll put Nearpod. Click on it, click save, and there we are. The picture, I can make it smaller, I can make it larger. Okay. And the same thing also with the GIF. All right. So now that I have this here, I can put save and exit. So I'm going to save and exit. Okay, and it'll process. You'll see the saving slide. You'll know you're ready to go when the slide turns orange. Sometimes it moves a little bit faster than others, depending on which server you're on, which internet. But there we go. So now we have an orange link. So now I can click on it. I can click away from it. I can convert it to draw. I can copy it. So I can delete it, or I can add something else. So I'm going to copy it just for our sake right now, and I'm going to paste it. Now I can move it. Once it's highlighted, I can move it wherever I want in the presentation. Okay. From here, I can also click convert to draw. It's going to ask me if I want to keep an original. What that'll do is one will be able, like, it's just a regular picture, and the other one I can actually draw on it. I usually say no, just because then it makes my presentation a little bit big to have double images. So now it has a draw feature, which means students, when they get to this slide, they can actually draw on it. They can draw, they can highlight, they can type on it, they can do several different things, right? If you want to delete an object, then you just go ahead and click delete, and there we go. All right, so this is what we're going to have here. We're going to have our Nearpod practice. I'm going to make another slide. And let's see what we're going to be working on today. So today, what are we going to be working on? Well, let's add some text here. All right. So the first thing we're going to look at here is how to make a slide. Ta-da! You have now completed step number 1. Step number 2, we're going to import images from your computer. And I'm going to put here snipping tool. Because what we're going to do is we're going to take our PDFs, our worksheets, and we're going to put them in here one at a time for student interaction. So we're going to be using the snipping tool today. We're also going to be adding a web page. Oops. And the last thing we're going to be working here is how to save and share. We're going to go pretty basic today. All right, save and exit. And while that's processing, again, it'll turn orange when it's ready to go. I have here already a sense of like worksheets that I have completed. that I've already scanned in. So you can actually take your workbooks or your PDFs that you have already, and you could have it scanned in just like so. So what you'll see me doing here is let's just take this page, page number 4 and page number 3, and I'm going to zoom in on it. Let's go 150. Yeah, it's a good size. So we'll zoom into it about this size right here. And what we're going to do is we'll come down to the start. And actually, you can type it here. Ours is already showing there in the taskbar, but I'll write in snipping tool. And there is our snipping tool. I usually like to right click on it, and I like to pin it to the taskbar so that way it's already here for us. So we'll click on it. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select new. And you see that the background is all shaded out. That means this entire work area I can go ahead and pull from. So what I'm going to do is I will click and hold in this corner for number 1. And just like that. Okay, I can always go back and clean it up. I can hit new again. And this time clean it up. Just like so. I'll click save. And I'm going to save it as something that I'm on my desktop, something that's going to be easy to know which order is. I'm just going to go with 1 because it's question number 1. And I'll hit save. All right, so we've already snipped the first question, and we're going to do the same exact thing for the rest of the questions on this worksheet that we want to use. So grab my snipping tool again. And you've guessed it, we're pretty much doing this for every question. Now, you're going to ask yourself, I have to do this for every single question? You can if you want to. You can also upload the entire page. But I like to do this because it separates it by question and gives the kids a little more workspace. Along with that is that I have it saved on Nearpod for future. So once I've done this, I've already snipped them all, I've saved everything, then I have it already. It's all there for me to use again for the future. I'll just have to make some adaptations to it depending on my lesson. So now what I need to do is I need to take those pictures and bring them into the Nearpod. Now, just like right here, drag and drop any files here. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to drag this until I see that blue box, and poof, it attaches to the side. All right, so I'm going to grab let's go in order. I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to drag and drop. Now it's going to ask you if I want to create a slideshow or individual slides. I'm putting them in individual slides so that way students can go through them individually. Okay, I'll put the OK on that. All right, and let's highlight and bring in the rest of the questions. And actually, let's just do number 5. All right, and push OK. All right, so now I have all of my numbers. I'm double checking that they're all in order. All right, now from here, I'm going to click on it. I'll have to make sure they turn orange. So I'll go ahead and click on the first one, convert to draw. I don't want to keep the original one. So I'm going to say nope. Now you'll notice now it's a draw feature. So that means when the student gets to it, they can draw all over it. And I'll do the same thing for all of them. Making sure to click no. I don't want an extra copy of the question. But again, it's up to you if you want to keep it. Alrighty. So now I have my questions. I have my title, my agenda. I can put in whatever slides. Again, I can also drag them and place them wherever I want to. All right. So we're going to preview what this looks like. What would it look like on the student end? Okay, so since I was on number 5, this is what the student would see on their number 5. Okay, so again, they can go backward, and there'll be another option here if they want to go forward. There we go. So again, they can move at their own pace, or you can make the selection to have them move at your pace. So I'll just grab this here. So you'll notice on the bottom here are some features. The first one is a pen. So you click on it, you can choose the thickness of the pen. We tend to go to the thinnest one, and you can select the color. When you first do this with students, if you've never used Nearpod with the draw feature, they're going to go a little haywire with the colors. They're going to want to try to do everything color coded and everything. Yeah, they just naturally want to do that. So for the first couple times, it's okay. But after that, I would suggest having a very structured, hey, we're using this color for this thing. All right, so the next one, we have a highlighter. Same component, make it thin, make it thicker. I can select a color. We also have a text feature, which you notice here, when I click on it, I can actually type and put whatever information I want to. I also have this feature, the picture feature. If you have it on your laptop, you can browse from files and you can upload. If you have iPads, this is actually a really good feature for math or anything you want to see their writing, because you can actually click on this and it'll ask if they want to use their camera on the iPad, and they can just take a picture of their journal and then place it anywhere on the page. So, hey, I want to see your math. They can do all of their annotations here and then put a picture of their work. And then the last part is they have their eraser. They can go ahead and adjust the thickness. But again, here, it's a little bit harder when you have a mouse. It's a little bit easier if it's a touch screen to do all the stuff. But for annotations, just highlights, underlines, and so forth, it's still pretty easy. So I can go ahead and erase. That's going to be here forever. I can use a larger eraser. I can also just go undo, or just click on this. Sure, you want to erase everything? Yes. All right. There'll also be an option down here at the bottom for the kids to submit. There'll be a blue button. They have to submit in order for you to get their data. So you're able to see in the report section, what did, Tom do on number 2? And it'll show you all of his annotations and whatever picture it is. If they do not hit the submit button and they just click the next, there on their side, their stuff will still be there, but on your report, it won't show anything. All right. So if you're trying to, pull together information for reports, for portfolios to show student work, if they don't hit the submit button, you don't have that. All right, so let's go ahead and exit out of this. So now we've put in our questions. Again, they could be working with the I do, the we do as a class, y'all do together with partners. And so I'm going to show you how we're going to put in now the quiz. So if you haven't already done so, you can check out the video on how to create a Google form quiz. And we'll be able to bring it into here using the web feature. All right, so let me put this here. So now I've made my Google form. Here's my link. I've shortened it. I'm going to copy it, right? And I'll be able to come back over here. So now I'm going to add a slide. I'm going to add web content. Click it there. Be able to paste it. And it'll start looking for it. There you go. I click away from it. I can click test link to make sure, hey, does it work? Yep, there it is. So exit out of it and save. All right. So now there's our orange border around it showing that it's ready to go. All right. Usually what I end up doing with this, if I'm not direct teaching this, if I'm not leading the lesson, I have students doing this in their groups and they're kind of doing their own self-paced. What I'll do is I'll click here, I'll make a slide, and I'll do something that says quiz time. Or I can say on your own or something like that. Same thing. I'll put a GIF in for this one. So let's say thumbs up for good luck. So I can go ahead and click on one of those. Save. You got it, dude. And save and exit. So I'll have my web content already built there. I'll have this slide as kind of a breaker, kind of letting them know, like, hey, your time is up of working with your partner. Now it's all on you. So once I've got that, I'll move it in front of the web content, and that's it. I can put another little features here. If I want them to finish, I can put directions when they're finished with it here on this side. I can put a link on there, so if they want to go, if I want them to be using some kind of a program, so like a Dreambox, anything kind of iStation or any of those online programs that we can have them use, I can also put them a link here. Or again, like I said, any directions of what they do afterwards when they're finished. Okay, so I'm going to click on save and exit. And I can just name this. We can just go Nearpod practice. And I can write a description if I want to. I don't have to. This is just for me. I can choose whatever grade level, and I can choose whatever subject. Save and exit. Okay. So now I have, here are all of my Nearpods. So from here, when I hover over the one, I can use a live lesson. So when I do a live lesson, that means that the kids are on their devices and I'm the one pushing them through the process. So if they're finished with number one, they don't go on to number two until I tell them to. But it happens for everybody at the exact same time. So it can't be one group, I'm pushing you to number two, and the other one, hey, you're still on number one, I'm going to wait for you. It's not quite like that. It's, hey, I'm moving everyone along at the same exact time, which is good for some lessons. For this one that we've been using for my class, we use a lot of student-paced. So when I click on student-paced, it gives them a unique code. So once again, Nearpod doesn't have to. They have an app or anything, something like that, but they don't have to use it as long as they're on any device that has internet connection. So they'll just type this into the Nearpod. So let's try it. So I'm going to go Nearpod. Click on it. Theirs looks a little bit different because we're already signed in as a teacher, so we have it here. See, welcome, Adam. So right here, they'll have a little bubble at the top. So we'll type in that code. ASP FW. Okay. And I click here. And now we're joining this lesson. Okay, so there I am. There's my name. I'm going to click join session, and let's take a look to see what this looks like from the student side. And usually what I do as a practice is I also have it, I sign in as a student as well on the student page, so it's projected on the board. So I can see exactly what they're seeing. If I do it as the teacher version, when they have to do submitting problems or anything like that, you don't see the question itself. You just see their responses. So it's kind of intimidating for some students, to when they're doing that, to suddenly see their name or to see their products being projected on the board. So I tend to do it like this so that way they can see like, oh, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is what question I'm supposed to be on. All right, so anyway, here, Nearpod practice. Let's Nearpod. I'm going to click on the next arrow. What's our agenda? Did we learn how to make a slide? Yes, we did. Did we learn how to import images from the computer using the snipping tool? Yes, we did. Did we add a web page? Yep. And are we learning to save and share? I think we did. All right. You'll also notice this little piece that pops out. This is notes section. That's for if kids want to go ahead and write notes. Usually I just tell them if it pops up, close it back up again. All right. Let's click the next one and let's see what the student would look for. All right. So again, they can write all over it, whatever they want to do. You'll see there's the blue submit button. Sometimes you'll notice is that if you do it this way, students won't be able to see certain letters, like they'll get caught off here at the bottom. Usually what I do is I just zoom out for the kids and they're like, oh, okay, thanks, Mr. Rod. That's why I project it up there. So in case there's any issues, I can see exactly what they're working on or what issues they're seeing. All right. So they do the same thing. Remember, they'll do their work, they'll highlight, they'll select their answer, they'll hit submit. Again, they're talking with their partners or, doing the annotations, doing the work in their journals. So it's exactly the same way they would do this if it was on hard copy. The only difference is you didn't have to run any copies for them. But they're still doing the math in the journals. And again, like I said, they can also submit the pictures. In my class, they have to ask permission to go before going to the next slide. So I'm going around actively monitoring, double checking to see, let me see your math, where's your annotations on the Nearpod, so on and so forth. So they know they can't move on to the next question until I've checked their question. So, it's one of those just making sure that they're following through with the work. And number 4, same thing they do. Number 5, quiz time. And was it Michelle, right? You got it, dude. So now, okay, they thank their partner, or they're going to go ahead and they're going to work on this still together or independently, just depends on how you want to have them do this. On Nearpod, you'll click here to open web page, and now it opens up. And once again, they're going to put their name, select their homeroom teacher if they're departmentalized. If not, then you don't need that part. Click next. And here's their quiz. If you're wondering how we went ahead and got to this part, take a look at the video of how to create a Google form quiz. But here's the one we've already built. So I've only put in 2 of our questions with the same teak. So I don't know, I'm just going to choose actually I'll go C, and let's go F. And then we click submit and view score. And there is my grade. And that's it. Click and exit.